After finally breaking their 27-year Champions League quarter-final curse to reach the final in 2020 where they lost to Hansi Flick's all-conquering Bayern side, many people were expecting PSG to go one better in 2020-21. Unfortunately, a turbulent summer caused an unresolvable rift between Thomas Tuchel and sporting director Leonardo, and after a challenging start to the season, the German was fired and replaced by Mauricio Pochettino. Their league form may have only slightly improved with their points per game going from 2.1 to 2.2, but they managed to see off Barcelona and Bayern Munich before eventually succumbing to Man City in the semi-finals. The response to that defeat has been spectacular, with the club taking advantage of financial cutbacks at Inter, Real Madrid and Barcelona to sign Hakimi, Ramos and most importantly Messi, and contract in passes to line Euro 2020 player of the tournament Donnarumma and the experienced Wijnaldum. They are now the bookies' favourite for the title, but here at Eurofootball Daily we aren't sure it's such a foregone conclusion. Welcome back to Scout Report. This is why PSG won't win the Champions League. Expectations and deficiencies. Whilst progress in any sporting competition will rely on a certain amount of good fortune, and the Champions League is no different, it's fair to say that PSG rode their luck last year. While 2019-20 saw them waltz through a group stage including Real Madrid, beat Dortmund over two legs and vanquish Atalanta and RB Leipzig to reach the final, conceding just 6 goals throughout, 2 fewer than champions Bayern, last year they definitely overperformed. They won just 6 of their 12 games, losing 5, 1 fewer than in the previous 3 campaigns combined, as a disjointed team appeared fortunate to reach the semi-final stage. Their stats were underwhelming. They ranked 13th for shots per game and 15th for shots on target, while their average of 15 shots conceded per game was only topped by 4 of the 32 teams in the entire competition. Factor in that their statement 3-3 aggregate win in the quarter-finals versus Bayern Munich came against a side missing Robert Lewandowski, and their semi-final implosion that saw them receive 6 yellow cards and 2 reds against Man City, and their recent Champions League form can't really be used as a barometer of their chances this season. Of course, they now have a completely different looking side and squad to the one Pochettino inherited last December, and their strength and depth has been evident so far this season with 5 wins out of 5 in Ligue 1 and an average of 3.2 goals per game, a figure only topped by Bayern and Dortmund in Europe's top 6 leagues. This is all the more impressive given that Donnarumma, Di Maria and Neymar have only started 1 game each, and Messi has only been utilised for 24 minutes at the time of writing. In their absence, players whose future looked uncertain this summer such as Idrissa Gueye, Thilo Kehrer and most notably Ander Herrera have stepped up, whilst Kylian Mbappe, aided by a burgeoning relationship with Hakimi, has been a man on fire. The 22-year-old has put a summer of endless speculation behind him to contribute 4 goals and 2 assists in 5 games. With his average of 1.2 expected goals and assists per 90, only topped by 7 players in Europe at this early stage. The scary thing is that he seems to be getting better too, with his attacking output being ranked as 98 out of 100 according to Smarter Scout, the best record of his career, while his ball retention abilities have been rated 94 out of 100, the highest it's been since his first year with PSG. But whilst the team's league form has been impressive, the past shows that it's often meant very little when it comes to the Champions League. 2017-18 had seen them win 22 of their 26 league games heading into a clash against Real Madrid, who were 4th in their Liga when they met in the last 16, only for Los Blancos to comfortably beat them 5-2 on aggregate. The following year, now under Tuchel, they had lost just 1 of their 26 league games, averaging 3.1 goals per game, when Man United stunned them at the Parc des Princes and knocked them out on away goals. So in order to better understand their chances this season, it's probably best to look at the key ingredients of the past winners. In terms of team statistics, different managerial philosophies ensure that things like possession and pass accuracy don't matter as much. For example, Liverpool won the 2019 edition whilst completing just 80% of their passes, 21st in the competition below teams like Galatasaray, Valencia and Hoffenheim. That's because prior to the arrival of Thiago and a slight tweak in style, their game plan relied on getting the ball to their lethal front 3 as quickly as possible in as much space as possible, often resulting in a lot of long balls, with only 10 teams completing more inaccurate long balls per game in that year's competition. Similarly, Chelsea in 2021 only averaged 52% possession, often preferring to control the game with smart positioning and a relentless press. But what Liverpool and Chelsea, along with Bayern Munich, the 2020 winners, had in common was a positive shot difference. Chelsea took 1.9 more shots than they faced, Liverpool 3.2, and Bayern a crazy 13.8, whilst PSG only managed to take 0.2 more in 19-20, and actually faced 3 more than they took last term. Their shots per game have dropped from 14.9 in 2018-19 to 12 last year, while their shots against per game have risen from 10.8 3 years ago to 15 in 2021. One of the key reasons behind this is that last year they were unable to prevent opponents from progressing play up the pitch, mainly due to the poor work rate of their forward players. Only Lokomotiv Moscow and Shakhtar Donetsk spent a greater proportion of time in their own third than PSG's 34%, with Mbappe and Neymar averaging just 1.3 tackles and interceptions per 90 combined. If they're going to be paired with new arrival Lionel Messi in a much talked about front three, surely something their hierarchy and fanbase will demand, they might have some issues. Messi averaged just 1.2 tackles and interceptions per 90 in the Champions League last term, giving their front three a combined output of 3.1 tackles and interceptions per 90. That figure is dwarfed by the 7.3 put in by Werner, Havertz and Mount, the trio used for the final last year, the 5.4 completed by Lewandowski, Gnabry and Koeman in 2020, and is 1.3 fewer than Salah, Mane and Firmino managed in 2018-19. This is further supported by the fact that Smarter Scout's Disrupt metric, which is rated out of 100, rated Chelsea's front three at a combined 163, Liverpool's 171, and Bayern's 197. Mbappe, Neymar and Messi's form last season at PSG and Barcelona were a combined 40. Unless Pochettino can motivate his star-studded frontline to pull their weight, it will be incredibly difficult for them to win their maiden Champions League. Of course, the competition will also be fierce. The rivals. With Man City having finally reached the final last May, only for Chelsea to secure a deserved victory, handing Pep Guardiola just the second cup final defeat of his 700-plus game managerial career, you can bet that they will be fully motivated to go one better this time around. They may have been left disappointed by their failure to secure Kane, Ronaldo, Lukaku or Haaland this summer, even though they only really seemed interested in the England captain, but they haven't shown it so far this season. They've bounced back from that shock 1-0 defeat on the opening day against Spurs to score 11 goals in 3 games, and are now just 1 point behind table toppers Man United. They've averaged 21 shots per game despite facing Spurs, Arsenal and Leicester, 3 teams predicted to finish in the top 10, whilst only facing 5.3, 1 fewer than the next best in Europe, Atletico Madrid. And their inability to sign an elite number 9 hasn't impacted their ability to get the ball into dangerous areas, with their average of 2.9 expected goals per game, only topped by Bayern Munich in Europe. With 2-legged victories over Real, Dortmund and PSG across the last 2 seasons, they have plenty of experience handling elite talent at Europe's biggest clubs, and will be desperate to finally land their first European title since 1970 this season. It would be remiss of us to talk about Champions League favourites without mentioning the holders Chelsea. Their triumph last season, which saw them lose just 1 of their 13 games, the fewest by an English winner since Man United went unbeaten in 2007-8, saw them beat the eventual Spanish champions, 13-time European Cup winners, and Man City, who of course went on to win the Premier League. It was a victory built off a rock-solid defence, with their 4 goals conceded en route, the fewest by a winner in Champions League history. And now they've added Romelu Lukaku. The Belgian didn't score in the competition outside of qualifying until 2017. But now has an impressive 14 goals in 28 games to his name, despite playing for 2 teams in Inter and Man United who have never really been considered one of the favourites. Under the tutelage of an excellent tactician and man manager in Thomas Tuchel, aiming to become the first manager to reach 3 consecutive Champions League finals with 2 different clubs, we back them to be in the mix. And finally, in terms of major contenders, we have Bayern Munich, who have only lost 2 of their last 31 Champions League games stretching back to the start of 2018-19. 7 fewer than PSG in the same period. In that time they've averaged 2.8 goals and just 0.9 goals against per game. For context, PSG in the same time frame have played 31 Champions League games and averaged 2.1 goals per game and 1.1 goals against, showing the gap between both sides up until this season. Whilst PSG have been bolstered by the arrivals of Ramos, Messi and Wijnaldum, winners of 9 Champions League titles between them, not to mention a host of other names, much of Bayern's side is largely settled, with Dayot Upamecano the only new signing to be featured amongst their 11 most used players so far this season. Having recovered from a disastrous pre-season to go unbeaten through their first 6 games of this campaign, including victories against RB Leipzig and Dortmund in the Super Cup, Nagelsmann's charges appear in ominous form. Coupled with their recent Champions League pedigree, team chemistry and star quality, they are for us the favourites for this year's competition. So guys, that was our scout report on why PSG won't win the Champions League this season. I know, controversial, but what did you guys make of it? Let me know in the comments down below, along with who you think will win the competition. Get your thoughts down there as well. If you've enjoyed this, please smash that like button, it really does help us with the algorithm. Remember to subscribe to EuroFootball Daily with notifications turned on, and I'll catch you next time.